Okay. I think, yes. I think it's working. So,
Howdy.
hello everybody. You might be just like Sarah, and you might also not know what piebald means.
I did Google it briefly.
And do you
There's
understand?
There's a deer that's called the piebald deer.
Would you believe me if I said it has nothing to do with the deer?
Yes.
Because it doesn't. Although
Doesn't it mean like two different colored thing or whatever?
that's one of the things. It's kind of used, from what I've seen, to describe specifically animals and coloration, like different color variations of them. But that's not what I'm using it for. Because the other one is that it's composed of incongruous parts. You know what incongruous means?
I can guess.
Basically, I looked up a synonym for miscellaneous. And I found piebald. And I thought it was interesting, as I'd never heard of it before.
Not in harmony or keeping with the surroundings or other aspects of something.
Exactly. Is that not us to a degree?
Well,
Anyways, okay. Also, don't worry, Mikey. You never stay anymore.
you
But
can find the full VODs
it's true.
on YouTube.
I've been
So
posting.
you don't have to worry
much more
about missing a
consistently.
thing.
Well, you will miss it because you won't be able to chime in with your horrid comments sometimes. But okay, so first, weekly obsessions. Do you want me to go first? Or do you want to go first?
You went first last time. Because I remember making you go first last time.
Well, we made Shinny go first last time.
That's true.
You go.
Well, first, D&D update.
Here we go. It could be anywhere from 5 minutes to 20. It really depends on how much happened in your story.
Not a lot, honestly. So, we were back in combat with the Stone Legion. I didn't get incapacitated, but I did get knocked down to 2 HP at one point. But I luckily had a health potion, and then Yoshi gave me her health potion, so I ended the fight with full health.
Interesting.
And it ended up being a case of this Stone Legion. We were like told that the magic was fading from it, or like something was happening. And apparently, this specific part of the campaign is very much inspired by SCPs.
Sure.
And so when he died, he like screeched out containment breach, and so we're like, uh-oh, what does that mean? And I felt bad because by the end it was like just kind of falling apart, and I felt bad for it.
Wow.
And no one else did.
I mean, if it's trying to kill you.
Well, yeah. And so when it finally crumbled to the ground and everything, I looked through the rocks and everything that I left behind. There's one wiggling rock, so now I have a wiggling rock in my pocket.
I'm sure that won't turn into something odd later.
It'll be fine.
Probably not an egg.
Then some lips appeared from a stone basin and just started talking in a prayer that none of us understood. But we understood it. Like it was in common, but we didn't understand why it was saying the things it was saying. And then the person who sent us on this quest to begin with called us, and it was like, any updates? And we said, weird shit has happened, but we haven't found the dude. And apparently she's been tracking us, so that's fun. She says, hey, okay, fine, go to this place. That's the next lead. And we're like, okay, fine. So we go back to where we came from, and we find our little Warforged friend, Fires. And one of our party members hates Warforged for some reason. Robot racist. And so Fires mentions how he has to go to the place we need to go, which is beachfront. And so I'm like, let's all go together. And that specific party member's like, no. And I'm just because he's a satyr.
Okay.
So my character just like, I just grab his horns and like keep him from shaking his head and like make him nod along with me.
Sure.
And so we take a short rest, and then we're on our way, and we're going through the cogs of Sharn, which is like the underbelly, like a mechanical kind of underbelly type thing of the city. And we're walking along, and then we hear what sounds like gang violence, basically. But Fires recognizes his friend's voice, his friend's Branch's voices. Who's another Warforged. And so we're like, okay, we'll go save Branches. And so there's like
Fires and Branches?
Yeah, they have longer names, but that's what we call them.
Okay.
Oh, because it was like Branches of the Winter Tree or something like that is like the full name. And so we're like, okay, we'll go save Branches because I have a soft spot for Fires. I love Fires. He's adorable. He's an autistic king. And Branches is just sitting there like, I don't have what you want, dudes. Please leave me alone. You're not gonna get what you want from me, kind of a thing. As like these two, as this one gang is like beating up on him, like, give us the manifold, and we're like, we don't know what the manifold is. And then this other gang shows up and is like, oh, what are you doing in our territory? We're gonna get the manifold. And so we're just watching at this point. And then a third gang shows up and is like, ha! We're gonna get, and we're like, okay. So our barbarian just scoops up Branches and we start running. And we get out of there, and that was where the session ended.
And then your lovely rock also started to grow lips and was making out with your leg through your pocket.
I hope not. It felt like a short session, but it wasn't. It was our normal length. It just, not a lot happened because the Stone Legion fight, we were very confused about, I think, what to do necessarily. Because he kept disappearing into the wall, so there would be like a whole turn of combat where we weren't doing anything because we couldn't see him.
Did you not want to break the wall?
Well, we're underground. So a stone wall would just give way to more stone.
Oh?
We didn't see a point.
All I'm saying is barbarians typically don't need to look at points. They just do.
Well, I'm not a barbarian.
No, but you are stupid. You seemingly are always taking points, like hit points in battle. Like, why are you not at a better vantage point when you get into these situations?
They come to me, okay? I am usually not near them, or I'm trying to get away. They come to me to hit me.
I mean, a lot of people want to do that.
Wow.
True. Jenny's one of
but
them,
there were like these statues that were around the room. Who one of them the Stone Legion absorbed, like got some health back. So we were spending time kind of destroying those statues. So yeah.
Okay, so you were like a miniature terrorist organization, destroying things and stealing things and leaving. And killing people that seemingly might have had no choice in terms of the SCP situation.
What do you mean?
Well, you don't... I would imagine, much like an animal, if it's backed up into a corner, of course it's going to try and lash out to protect its own survival.
No,
So,
this guy was ordered to attack us. We're pretty sure.
exactly. Following down the chain.
Yeah.
Do you feel bad for a grunt?
Sometimes.
There you go.
But to be fair, I did feel bad at the end, but the others didn't. We just kept beating him up. So, I did. There was a time where I think one of my last turns, I literally went up to him and I was like, "Please stop fighting. You're not gonna win. Please stop."
And then he hits you to 2 health points again.
No, he didn't. He couldn't even hit me. So, yeah, that's where we left off. As far as actual weekly obsession goes, I don't really know. I don't really have one. Honestly, the only thing I could think of is work.
You've been obsessed with work?
That's the main thing that's been taking up a lot of my time and also a lot of my brain power. Because usually when I get home from work,
I'm thinking about work.
Sometimes I'm thinking about work. Sometimes I'm just also like doing mindless things and I'm not really obsessing over it. So yeah, that's the main thing I can think of. I mean, there's a fun game mode I've been playing on Minecraft, but that isn't really, I wouldn't call it an obsession. It's just kind of fun. So, yeah, I would say work.
You know, you've gotten more boring as you've gotten older.
Well, I mean, the part of work that I guess you could say I'm obsessing over is the fact that I get to organize everything to be exactly how I want it. So I'm creating new systems, and I'd like creating new systems. I like making things more efficient, and I think it's working pretty well. But I still have over 100 emails that I'm trying to get through.
I would also imagine, like, if you ever leave and they have to figure out how to see your system and, like, go through your organization.
Well, that's the thing is that that is one of my other things is making sure that it is something easy to follow that would not be hard to understand. So
For the old people, essentially.
The people at my office are not that old. Everyone is older than me, but
75.
No. I think the oldest person in the office is probably in either their 50s or 60s.
My birthday is next month, Mikey. I'm not gonna tell you the day, because that's cheating. But
Who said cheating?
because you're supposed, if you don't know my birthday, I feel like with the amount of things that have happened in Discord in multiple different servers of which multiple people are in, you can guess and or find evidence of when my birthday is. So I'm not gonna give you a direct link. You have to work for it like I have to work for things too. For me, okay, well, first of all, let's see. Let me bring this up. So, since last time, 11 new songs.
Oh boy.
3/2 of which were off of the same albums, but they are still different songs. They're not like remixes or anything. But funnily, I would say the one song that it's so fun. I don't even know why it popped into my head recently, but the one song that I've been listening to and singing, because I've discovered something about this song and myself, is, you know, because you watched this recently with us, in the Lizzie McGuire movie, the first song they play when she's in her bedroom, the Tide is High song. Yes. That song I've been listening to nonstop for like since Tuesday.
You know, honestly, fair. It is a bop.
And I don't even know why. It's not like I ever thought it wasn't a good song beforehand, but it like popped into my head. This was multiple weeks after we had seen the Lizzie McGuire movie at this point, and it popped into my song, and I couldn't stop singing it. So I looked it up, and it was it's technically a cover of a cover because the original is by like Blondie, and it's a cover by Atomic Kitten, which is like a 3-member girl group. And something else I learned is that song in particular is like the perfect range for me to sing, And
See, that's
so
always fun when you find a song like that.
I feel like that song is now going to be my go-to karaoke song, if that is ever an option. But that's the main one that I've been listening to and singing. And so now every time I listen to it, I'm thinking of like, oh, I'm starting like a early 2000s movie and we're just like getting started with it and everything.
That should be your go-to, like, get ready for your day song.
I'm Lizzie McGuire. I'm in my room. My brother is being a pervert and recording me getting changed. You know, the works. But then
Little
my
cartoon character
actual,
of you.
yes, it would be this cartoon character just acting
Yeah.
out horribly, eating spaghetti. But my actual main obsession, I could kind of get split into two because I had one thing that I was doing and one thing that I did. And the thing that I did was I finally got Lord on Jeff. Thank God. I don't have to deal with that anymore. And the only reason I did is to get this cute little portrait. And that's the only reason. Because I've learned so much by playing Jeff too many times that he's not the greatest in terms of a lot of things. But at the same time, I feel like I've made him work in scenarios where I don't think he would have done the best. So I don't know if I would want to play him in competitive though. I don't want people to yell at me, but I also just might not join voice chat. So that was one thing. Then my other one that I've been doing more consistently within the past, probably since like end of Tuesday, Wednesday night-ish kind of. That specifically was Heroes of the Storm, the game I talked about.
Yeah.
Which for me, it's a MOBA, and it's by Blizzard, so it has like all like Blizzard IP characters, including like Overwatch characters too. But comparative to League, because you know, as someone who has played both of them extensively to some degree, because I'm like level 200 something in Heroes of the Storm, because I used to play it a lot more back then. But it is much more beginner friendly for not only people that have never played a MOBA, but people that also just haven't played that kind of game in general. Where like in League, I feel like a big thing that confuses people, especially new players, is like the sheer amount of everything. Because there's so many characters, there's so many like items you have to buy, and it's like a lot of information.
That's the worst part, I think, about.
It's very hard to get into because there's a lot of information, not only of like the characters that you're using and like what they do, but then also the items and what they do and how you should use them on specific characters. Whereas,
it's like it's kind of similar where the meta is always changing.
well, that's the thing. In Heroes of the Storm, first of all, I feel bad because Heroes of the Storm, it's okay. Sarah will get over it. She'll get over her robot. She's not the robo racist. But
I'm not.
in Here's the Storm, one, there's no items, so you don't have to think about that at all. Two, every time you level up, it's your entire team leveling up. And you automatically have like all of your abilities, other than your ultimate, which comes at a specific level, unlocked from the get-go to use and everything. And the only thing that changes as you level up as a team, because it's collective XP comparative to League where it's like individual XP, someone can be way higher level than you if they're like in a lane by themselves, is you get to alter how your abilities change. So it's kind of like a skill tree. And so instead of basically worrying about how to build someone item-wise, you automatically know how all of the abilities work, and that's the main thing you focus on, and the only thing that changes is how you want to play them, because the amount of change in the abilities also wildly varies to the point of like you could completely play differently based off of what talents you select and everything. And each character has like 2 different ultimates that they can choose from based off of like what you want to do. Like May, I'm pretty sure her 2 ones is she can make an ice wall that like freezes people in place and creates a wall, or she makes a giant snowball that rolls people into it and slams them into whatever is like at the end of the path. And it's very interesting and it's very cool, and that I feel like it would be a way better experience for you to play that versus trying to play League. because it's just way more team focused rather than like someone could solo carry and everything. I've been playing that a lot recently because one of the people that I watch who used to play it like competitively, like on like a professional level, started getting back into it recently. And she was like, I don't know, I was just, you know, nostalgic for it and I wanted to play it again. And it made me want to play it again. And so I did. And I've been like leveling up a bunch of characters and everything. I'm not going to get Sarah into Smite. That's you and Rose's job, Hide. Okay? It's you and Rose's job to get both me and Sarah to play Smite with you. Because I don't have like any type of issue with playing Smite, but I'm not just gonna play it on my own. That's for sure. But yeah, that's been the things.
All kinds of MOBAs kind of just scare me.
Well, that's
just
the
because
thing.
of the air around them.
The air around them? You mean the communities around them?
Yes.
Well, also with Heroes of the Storm, at least in terms of like the games that I've played, which is surprising that there's even people still playing, but the people that are playing are like diehard fans that are like level 2000 and above. But they're typically very positive. They say GG after every match, even if you're fighting against bots. Like, it's that kind of community. So with League, yeah, it's better to mute all chat, but that's what I'm saying. The items, Hide, specifically in Heroes of the Storm, you never have to worry about them. The most you have to do is just read what it does to your ability, but you already know what the ability does. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And it's been fun. Plus you could play Ana in it. And she has very different abilities.
That's the thing you advertised to me for.
It's true. You can play Ana in it, and her whole shtick is that she has like a stacking poison that she puts on people when she auto attacks them. And then her ultimate is either a normal nano boost or she turns into a sniper that can shoot through walls across the map.
Ooh.
And it's healing and damaging for whatever it pierces through. So, I don't know. I just think it would be way more fun than a League experience. But let's talk about some stuff, shall we? As if we haven't been talking already. Okay, so first of all, we'll talk about what we just briefly talked about beforehand, before the pod started. Super Bowl was today. Do you know who won? I don't know who won. I don't know who was playing.
I have no idea.
I have no idea who. The only Super Bowl I specifically remember was Packers versus Steelers, because I think that happened when I was in elementary school and everyone was talking about it, but I still didn't know what the hell that meant. Like, I knew what the Super Bowl was, but obviously I didn't follow football, and my family is not like a big football person or anything.
You know, I know how football works because of marching band and everything like that.
Probably better than I do, let's be real.
Oh, absolutely. I specifically learned it in my freshman year because I was tired of not knowing what's going on and why everyone was cheering. So I was like, okay, someone explain this to me so I know what's happening. And I'm glad because it made the entire experience a lot better. But I don't have any interest in normal football. I don't really have any interest in like any major sports. I kind of understand like, oh, rooting for your local teams and all that stuff.
Even then, sometimes the people go crazy.
Yeah.
It's like when I see rabid fans of like any musical artist too, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of dedication right there that I don't know.
Yeah, everyone has their thing and some people have sports. I'm not one of those people. Like, to me, sports like football for like the Super Bowl and all that stuff is to them what like a new One Piece movie would be to me.
You would be covering your face in like face paint and like screaming at the top of your lungs.
Well, okay, maybe not. Maybe
One Piece movie announced. I can imagine you showing up to a One Piece movie like that. Actually,
that would be funny if I did. To be fair.
Also, what do you mean Taylor Swift is gonna be there? I thought it already happened. Is it happening now? When is the Super Bowl? Like, what time is it supposed to be?
Alexa, when is the Super Bowl?
She's just gonna tell you the date. It's gonna be like, it's happening today. So she doesn't even know.
Looks like the Eagles are winning. It's happening now, I'm pretty sure.
The Eagles, apparently.
It's the Eagles versus the Chiefs.
Of which I don't know who either of those teams are from.
I don't either.
But the other thing that happened recently was the Grammys, which I also did not watch. I feel like the only reason I would ever watch award shows is for the performances. I would never care that much about the awards, I guess. Because that's the other thing. Similar to like the whole, some people are like really into sports versus some people are like really into their favorite artist or something. I've never been that level with any kind of artist like that. Where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what she needs. She finally got her flowers. She won this after so much hardship. Like, I'm pretty sure, I mean, I'm happy that I'm pretty sure Charlie XCX finally got a Grammy. I don't remember what it was for, though. It was a weird nomination for like art direction or something for the Brat album. But I'm happy that she got one after such a long time. After she even had a song that was like, if I showed up to the Grammys, they would kick me out because they would think I'd blow the place up. But yeah, I don't know. I've never really been that interested in it. Because I feel like it's the same with like the Met Gala. The only reason I like the Met Gala is for the outfits. Because that's the other thing. I feel like I would be okay, even if it wasn't famous people, if it was just random people that I did not know, but it was the outfits, I probably would still be just as interested because I care more about the fashion part of it. Because
some people wear really weird things though too.
And some people wear really weird things, not even to the Met Gala, just to like the award shows. May I entertain you with the Lady Gaga meet dress from so long ago that everybody talks about.
Yeah, that's a, yeah.
Which also, speaking of Lady Gaga,
Gaga,
she's coming, she came out with a bunch of, well, she came out with one song a little while back, like a couple months ago, but then she came out with a song the night of the Grammys. I think it's called Abracadabra. Have you seen it anywhere? I feel like it's all over gay stuff.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I don't think I've actually heard the song though.
Well, the funny part is the abracadabra, abracadabra. That's the part that everyone, because I remember I saw one where it's like when someone asked me who Alakazam evolves from, and that was just the part that was playing. But no, it sounds, because I listened to the song because I listened to the other one previously and I was like, it's not bad, but it's not my jam. Like, I didn't vibe with it as much. This one in particular sounds very much like songs that she used to come out with. Similar, like Born This Way mixed with art pop. That's the vibe I got from it. And it's surprising considering I think I'm not the biggest Lady Gaga fan, but I did listen to a decent amount off of the Chromatica album when that came out, and that was a very different vibe than stuff she's released in the past. And so it's surprising to see her go back to that, but also all of the gays are very excited. Very excited. They love a dancing Gaga.
Well, who doesn't like a dancing Gaga?
I know you're not one of those gays. That's the funny part. Oh my, you're like the epitome of musical theater gay, but you're like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't care either way.
But that's okay.
I'm gonna end up seeing people do the dance anyways, so you know.
Oh yeah, I saw there's already been like ice skating performances to it and everything.
Well, I believe I saw something that she was like she being Lady Gaga, specifically.
The Gaga.
Specifically, like that she wanted people to do the dance. She wanted to see people doing the dance and everything.
Well, have you seen the dance?
Bits and pieces, I think.
Have you seen how chaotic it is?
Hold on, let me pull it up.
Because it's like it's a lot of like twitchy movements and stuff, which I guess maybe that's why I'm reminded of her old
Abracadabra Gaga.
Because I remember that's how she would like dance in Born This Way era and all of that stuff. Which is funny considering how how old was I when Born This Way came out? Young. I was probably like 11, 12, maybe younger. No, I was 10. I was close. Think about that. That came out so long ago.
Watching the dance. Hold on.
The entire thing.
Not the whole video, but just the actual like dance thing.
But no, I remember that came out. She released it the night of the Grammys, like during the Grammys when it was happening. And she's gonna have her new album. I don't know when. It's gonna be an album at some point in the future. But because of the new year, a bunch more people have either released something or are teasing that they're gonna release something in the next couple upcoming months. And in terms of like K-pop and everything, because you know that's the scene that I slightly keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. There's a lot of future music, I guess. Oh, and Rebecca Black's album got pushed back. Her little EP album, that got pushed back. Originally, it was supposed to come out in January, but I'm assuming because of the LA fires, it was pushed back, and now it's at the end of February. And it's supposed to come out. So I have to wait for that. Thinking Sugar Water Cyanide. But then, okay, this is slightly off, but in a similar key. For some reason, well, this ties back to some things. I've been watching, I don't know what happened in my YouTube algorithm, but I've been watching a lot of interviews with like Miranda Cosgrove and Hilary Duff. From like years ago at this point. And I remember thinking to myself, comparative to like your average child star, they seem like very stable people because they like seemingly have a very normal life in terms of like how crazy it seems outside of being a celebrity. Because regardless, I think if you're ever a child star, especially one that's like in shows made for children that children grow up with, you're automatically gonna carry that fame into being an adult regardless.
Yeah.
But then I also thought
you're also usually mistreated, so.
Oh yeah, that's part of the issue. That's part of the reason why so many child stars have the issues, is because of how awful it is. But then I remember thinking about this one other child star. I say this one other child star. I was thinking about Keke Palmer. Because
what was she in?
A lot of stuff. Akilah and the Bee? True Jackson VP? Maybe you are too young, but I remember she was part of my childhood. And that got me on this whole topic in my mind of like, you know what? I'm not a super big fan of many celebrities, but I would love to meet Keke Palmer. Because every time I've ever seen her in interviews or just interacting with people, she seems like such a delight.
I've never had any sort of desire to meet a celebrity.
Because like, what if they vomit on you? What if they shart on you?
That's not usually my concern.
It's my concern.
Well, that's a very specific concern that you have.
Celebrities are people too. They're allowed to shart, just not on me.
They can do whatever they want in their free time as long as it's not around me.
Bye, Mikey.
Bye, Mikey. No, there's never been anyone that I was like, I have to meet them. My life will be complete if I could shake their hand type of thing.
Well,
like,
no. I don't think that would ever be a situation with me either. It's more like if an opportunity presented itself, I would not turn it down. Whereas, like, versus say someone offered me, do you want to meet Harry Styles? I'd be like, I'm good. Because I personally
not interested either
don't
way.
really care. But, happy he's doing his own thing away from me. I like that implies that he was doing stuff by me at one point, but she wasn't. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like of all people, that's the other thing. Because of it, because of all the interviews that I'd seen, I was watching. Do you remember Drake and Josh?
I mean, I don't think I ever watched it, but yeah, I know of them.
Me and Yoshi watched it a bit, but Josh, because Drake had other stuff going on. I think he had issues with like child pornography and stuff. But
Oh, okay.
Josh is fine. And
Thank God.
he has a podcast, funnily enough, that he talks to Miranda Cosgrove, iCarly. You should know her. Come on.
Yes, I know her.
And they were just talking, and she seemed like she seemed exactly the same as she did when she was younger, which was surprising.
that entire documentary thing came out about the iCarly set and everything, and the director.
Oh, Dan Schneider?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was notorious for just being awful to everyone involved with all of his projects, because he did all of the like young teen projects and stuff. I don't remember if he did True Jackson VP either, but that's where Keke Palmer was on Nickelodeon. He had her show.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch Nickelodeon.
Wow. What about Cartoon Network?
I don't think I watched much on that either, to be honest.
I remember being scarred by the Wonderful Adventures? The Flapjack one with the pirates?
Yeah.
And Captain Knuckles. Because of how horrifying that art style became at certain moments. It was very Courage the Cowardly Dog. Where like it was seemingly normal with a bit of a dark undertone, and then suddenly they'd show you like one of the grossest things you've ever seen in your life. And it was for children. To be fair,
SpongeBob did that too.
Yeah, oh my gosh, you want to know a SpongeBob scene that vividly replays in my mind that I wish would go away?
What?
When Squidward is like, I don't even remember the context of the episode, but there's like this chair or a table. It's something that goes on his foot. And for some reason, the animator decided to put a toenail on his tentacle foot. And it dug up the toenail. Yeah.
Ugh.
And it was so disgusting. I was like, why is this what you're showing me? But yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of cartoons, I think that explains the way we are, you know, why we're so fucked in the head.
Why we're so what in the head?
Why we're so fucked in the head.
Well,
because we've seen things. Or God forbid being a child of the internet.
Yeah, I think I can say with at least some degree of certainty that the shows that I watched did not mess up my head. I don't think that was the main
my head was
contributing.
prepackaged this way.
I was thinking more, there's other more prevalent factors.
True. But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I've been like on all of the stuff, like all of the interviews and stuff recently of like all of these child stars. I feel like the shows, generally speaking, I mean, it depends, because similar to like Courage the Cowardly Dog and everything. Oh yeah, Salad Fingers for sure. That was definitely child of the internet era of like early internet videos. Or Charlie the Unicorn. That was also messed up.
Those I didn't watch. I remember seeing, I think, one episode of Happy Tree Friends or whatever it's called.
Oh my gosh, yes, Happy Tree. I forgot about those.
I saw like one episode of that and I was scarred for life.
You unlocked a core memory of a squirrel getting skinned. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was like a squirrel getting skinned and then having lemon juice poured on them. That was what one of the episodes was. Oh my gosh.
I don't think I ever.
And that's why we're also messed up.
Yeah, that probably messed some people up.
There was, I mean, that on top of like when we talked about creepypastas and everything. I feel like because we were like, oh my gosh, thank you, SXK. But I remember we were talking about a lot of the like scary stories that we would read and that would traumatize us.
Oh yeah, this what is it called? The Lottery fucks me up to this day.
The Lottery?
You've never read The Lottery?
Well, okay. I know of a story called The Lottery, but I don't know if it's a creepypasta.
It's not a creepypasta. Sorry, I think I missed that part where you said creepypasta.
Is it the one with the stoning?
Yes.
Yes, I did read that.
That fucks me up to this day.
That does?
Yes, I think about it so fucking often. Like, I think about it at least once a month. It
Once
fucks me
a
up so much.
month. Oh my
Yes,
god.
I don't know why. It's just there's something about it because there's two versions that we read. No, there's two versions that we knew of when we went over it. One was the movie or small play that was done of it, and then one was the actual play, the actual written play. And those are two very different versions. Because one is more, pitted as kind of this mystery type thing where you're like, what is happening? Why did all these people die on the same day? Can no one leave the town kind of a deal? And why does everyone hate my grandfather or whatever it
Why
is?
does everyone hate my grandfather?
And then, but the play is the thing that I think fucks me up more because it's a story about where it's been, okay, for those who haven't seen it.
Explain it to Hide, because he's the one that does not understand.
The entire thing of the lottery is more of a social commentary on if the crowd goes along with it, would you do something bad? Like, basically the embodiment of if everyone you knew jumped off a bridge, would you jump too?
Looks fun.
And it's a thing where this entire town, and apparently there's neighboring towns who have also done it, that's like the entire kind of lore of it, is everyone's name gets put into this box. And one person, and so actually no, not everyone's name gets put into a box. There's a bunch of basically lots, and every single person goes up one by one and draws out their lot. And if you have the marked lot, then you get stoned to death. Everyone stones you to death.
Not weed-wise, by the way.
Yeah, no. Like biblical stoning. And the actual written play, it's a very short thing, but it's so vivid because it's following this lady who gets to the drawing and everything a little late, just because for various reasons and stuff like that. And so she's one of the last people, and she's the one who draws the lot. And the thing is, she's talking with her friend saying, oh, do you think it's gonna be this? I hope it's this person, kind of a deal. But then she's the one who draws the lot, and she's talking about how unfair it is, how they can't do this to her, and it's one of her best friends that picks up the heaviest rock and throws the first one at her. That fucks me up somehow. I don't know why. I don't know. There's something about it that is genuinely so disturbing. Like, hold on, the lottery.
Meanwhile, here I am thinking when you were talking about how it's like it follows this town and then other towns around probably are doing it. I'm like, oh, that's just like probably how it's gonna be in that Minecraft server you're on, where you're in towns and you're executing people. It kind of is what you did for those heads that you had. You just kept killing the same guy.
That was a consensual thing. And he didn't die.
Well, he did keep dying, actually. That's kind of how
That is the thing, though. There are so many different versions. There's a lot of adaptations. And each one of them just makes it awful in a different way.
Well,
There's a song someone used as an inspiration for it.
I don't know. I don't find it as maybe. Do you think it's like the direct root nature behind all of the stories? Because I would assume if it's like inspiration for other stories of similar nature, it has to do with like kind of mob mentality, like unjustified mob mentality of sorts.
Yeah. It's the case, like, with the Hunger Games, there is at least this entire aspect of the government is forcing you to do it. There is this much larger force. In the lottery, it's a cult, basically. And it's the fact that people find at least some sort of sick joy. It's the fact that there's no age limit.
I mean, that's my kind of lottery.
I believe there are, in some of the stories, like they stone babies and everything like that.
I feel like it's not that hard to stone a baby.
No, but it's the entire aspect of it, and that people are like, they have the kids
Hell, you
be
could
the
just
ones.
punt it like a football. Speaking of the Super Bowl.
It's the fact that it's they joyfully have the kids joyfully gather all the rocks and everything like that.
Have you ever seen
And-
Midsommar? Did you watch
I
that
don't
with
think
us?
so, no. I don't believe so.
Because I feel like that movie would also probably fuck you up then.
Probably, but I think in the playlist, it's the entire reason they're doing the lottery is because of this superstition that they will have bad crops if they don't.
Yeah, it's because I'm
And
there
they
to curse
talk
the
about, and they talk about how other towns have already started, like have stopped doing the lottery, and how they're fools, they can't do that. It's been in their like for generation. Actually, no, that's the part that fucked me up about it. It was the fact that they say in the story, it's like they don't know why they're doing the lottery anymore.
Oh, yeah.
It's something they've been doing for so long that they don't know why they're doing it. And I think that's the part that fucked me up about
You know
it.
what's the minute I hear that though, it's very Catholicism to me. Yes,
I mean-
I'm like, there's a lot of traditions in that you're like, why do you do it?
But like, a tradition is one thing because most of the time it's usually harmless, but like in this case it's so obviously not. It's just it in a way it's kind of like, at least in the movie, one of the things is that the person who draws the lot and everything isn't immediately stoned.
There's
I'm pretty
a
sure they have like a
movie?
yeah.
I've never heard of it being a movie.
And this is the one I was talking about. That's kind of like a mystery thing, because it's this guy who comes back to the town. No one likes him because they remember his grandmother or grandfather or something like that who left when she found out she was gonna get stoned.
A valid
And
reaction.
so they have this graveyard where a bunch of people have died on the same day, just different years. And he like, this guy like finds it like really weird, and he starts talking to this girl, and this girl's the one who got chosen to be stoned. And I'm pretty sure his name was also added to the lottery because he was technically from there. And so he witnesses this and everything like that. And I think the way that they did in the movie, it was a case of people they would draw a random family's name out of the box, and then someone randomly from that family would get chosen. And so
17. Imagine Effie comes out and that's who's the person that's drawing it.
Well,
Oh my god.
So this young lady gets chosen, and it's not immediate. It's not a case of she's immediately sent to get stoned. It's that she has a few days, I guess. I don't know if it's meant to be like a festival. I don't really remember.
Is
but I
that
remember,
worse or not though?
That's the thing. The rest of the movie is him trying to understand why this is happening and trying to get her to leave with him, and she feels like she can't because it's her duty.
To who?
And it's to the town, I guess. It's so fucked. And it's the psychological aspect. I don't know, that it's stuck with me for years, man. I'm telling you, I think
My
about it so
God.
fucking often.
I remember reading that back like in high school, I think. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting, dark little short story. And you apparently have internalized it as potential trauma for you.
I mean, there's that. There's also the most dangerous game. I don't think about that one as often. I do still think about it quite often, though.
I was about to say, if you consider the Back to the Future as traumatic, similar to how Sarah's describing this.
No, Back to the Future, honestly, one of my favorite movies. I love the Back to the Future
Which
trilogy.
one? The first one?
The total trilogy is great, although I did really actually enjoy. A lot of people don't like the third one. I really enjoyed the third one. Yeah, the most dangerous game is the story where this rich guy owns an island, and I can't remember the total reasoning behind it, but he brings basically humans because he got sick of hunting animals, so he wants to hunt something that's more intelligent, so he hunts humans on his private island.
Oh, you would like the third one.
What does that mean?
It means I remembered one of them was the Western one, but I didn't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I do love a good Western. I also remember the I really like Doc.
You are Doc.
Honestly,
are you not?
Oh, that's a compliment. Yeah. So
I feel like that's just your personality.
I just remembered the train, and I remember really liking that train scene.
That's the
That was a time traveling train.
When you really like the train in a scene. Oh my gosh.
We should have a episode where we talk about time travel in different media.
Sure. I'll write it down.
I think that would be very fun because I have very strong opinions about it.
About that train scene in particular.
No, just about. I still stand to this day. Well, we're not going to go too much into it because we have to save it for a different pod episode. But I have an opinion about the best version of time travel that I have ever seen in media.
Oh boy.
So.
Is it in One Piece?
No. One Piece does have a little bit of time travel, and it honestly isn't that bad. But because I have a lot of issues with like the logical aspect of time travel, but Gravity Falls has the best time travel.
That's gonna get you on a separate rant if you start talking about Gravity Falls.
I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts on different time travel and how it works and aspects. I don't know if we've ever talked about paradoxes either, but we should also talk about paradoxes.
Well,
I know we've talked about conspiracy theories.
When you say paradoxes, though, I feel like that's not that big of a topic. Like real paradoxes or just like paradoxical statements?
Either one.
Because like whenever I think of paradoxes, I think of like the statements that are supposed to freak out AI from Portal 2. Of like, this statement is false.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't realize that story would hit you so hard.
Listen, man. I don't know what to tell you.
All these cinematic
I don't know what to tell you.
music. Okay, well, one thing I wanted to talk about, a couple of things actually, but one of the main ones. This is a slight sidetrack. This is more just a brief interlude before I talk about an actual thing. But do you know how cold brew is made?
It's not a case of, I used to think it was you brew the coffee and then you just chill it for a while, but apparently that's not.
You don't brew it.
Does it just seep in cold water?
You basically, the way that I am aware of it, because I also was wondering like what's a nitro cold brew, because you know how they have that at Starbucks?
Yeah. Isn't that like part of that supposed to be like the foamy part?
Yes and no. Basically, it is you steep coffee beans, just the whole ass beans, in water, cold water. And so it'd probably be like in a fridge of some kind of really, really cold. And it's at least 20 hours, like Shani says, but sometimes they do it for like close to almost 48 hours. It depends on like what you're doing. And then the nitro part is specifically cold brew that's infused with nitrogen.
Oh.
And that's what makes
make
it the
colder
foamy on the
everything?
top.
Oh.
And it's supposed to have like a creme texture.
Huh.
But it's supposed to be, I don't know why, I'm sure there's a science to it that I don't know. But for me, I always imagine cold brew as like way more intense flavor wise. And like also possibly way more intense maybe what is it called? Caffeine wise?
I'm trying to think if I've had cold brew.
Well, are you someone that could
I mean,
drink?
I think I've had like the prepackaged cold brew.
Are you someone that could drink like cold brew, not cold brew, like coffee just black?
I mean, I can.
But
I don't think I
want to.
like it. Yeah, no.
Also, I was right. It typically has a higher concentration of caffeine. And so it's technically considered stronger.
Hate the taste of coffee.
I've realized, like, well, first, if you know me, you know I'm typically a sweets person over a savory kind of person. Although I do have savory moments, but typically I'll always prefer a sweet situation.
I think you like if we had to pick flavor profiles that we like most out of like the main ones, I think you are more of a sweet person and I'm more of a salty person.
Which is funny considering our personalities. But Also,
You're saying I'm sweet?
no.
I know you.
Don't flatter yourself. But I am definitely saying we're both salty to some degree.
Oh, we are absolutely very salty.
But I was about to say, yeah, Shinny hates coffee, but she worked with coffee for a very long time in terms of like every day, basically.
See,
But
something that you don't go on.
no, you go.
Well, something that SK doesn't know about me, because it hasn't come up yet, is the fact that I don't like tea at all.
Cue
But
your
also I'm not
multiple
supposed
bad
to,
experiences.
but also I'm not really supposed to drink tea because it makes kidney stones bad.
I feel like coffee would also do that too, to some extent, though, right?
Technically, it's any dark liquid, but tea was the one that was specifically mentioned, so I use it as an excuse.
Sure.
Especially because there's people that are like, you don't like tea? Like that one doctor, it was like, you drink tea, I give you tea, drink this tea.
That's precisely how it went.
Kind of. And
He didn't even speak in complete sentences.
People
He was just,
don't-
I give you tea.
he did. But it's the fact that people are very,
I need more than that, actually. Can you
When it
explain further? People are very, to which you're talking about something that it could be a varied amount of things.
So it's when you're someone like me who has a lot of different food issues,
Okay.
you get used to people
Trying to force you to try things.
trying to force you to, or making a big deal out of it when you do not want it to be a big deal. Because that's the worst part. That's why I have so much food anxiety, because people make it a big deal.
No, I get
And
that.
it makes me I would rather starve than deal with that social interaction. And I have. So I'll take anything. I'll take anything to use against them, kind of, as a counter argument. So it's like,
Against tea
you
drinkers.
don't like tea. Yeah, I mean, kind of. You don't like tea? And I'm like, actually, I've been
weaponizing it in your mind?
Because that's what I have to.
Oh my god.
Because it's a case of, I've gotten better with it over the years. It's definitely a lot. Especially because I've been able to be integrated into a lot more groups that understand, the understanding and all, and also having an autism diagnosis, being able to be like, yeah, I'm autistic, I have food sensitivities, that helps. Being able to say, yeah, I have ARFID, that's technically an eating disorder, it causes issues, I'm working on it, so that helps. And I'm not in as many situations like online with like the various groups of people. Yeah, they're still like, you never had this, and I'm like, yeah, no, I haven't. Okay, whatever, I'm working on it, I'll add it to the list. So it's just, it's luckily a lot better than it was, but that was the reason I had to go from full-time to part-time on my internship with the civil engineering company, is because there was a time we were all supposed to go out for sushi, and I had such bad fucking food anxiety. I was having literally a panic attack in the bathroom, and I threw up. I don't usually throw up from anxiety, but I was like, I threw up. And
you know what? It looked like sushi. So she was like, what's the point then?
It triggered a lot of continuous issues, like health issues. Like it triggered my migraines, it triggered my stomach issues. It came to become a really bad thing. And so I went, that's one of the reasons I actually had to go down, because I was having such bad just symptoms overall in my body from that one trigger. So, but luckily it's gotten better.
Well, also similar to like what Hide had mentioned of like how he doesn't really see tea drinkers doing that, but he's had coffee people do that. I feel like also, granted, this is going to be perpetrating stereotypes here, but I feel like a general thing that you also think of a lot is like when I think of people that drink tea like as their main thing, and then people that drink coffee, you get like the kind of hipstery vibes. In tea drinkers, you kind of get like the chill dog mom kind of vibes. In terms of like, they seem much more easygoing, I guess, to me. People who drink tea, like exclusively drink tea.
I think I think it's because the entire idea is that you drink coffee to wake you up, but you drink tea to calm down.
I drink
Even though
coffee
tea also has
because
caffeine.
tea, I feel like coffee is very predictable for me, whereas tea, you definitely, if you want to like it, you have to find different kinds of tea that you would like. Because like
At least
you can get different beans and everything for coffee, but at the base of it all, it tastes like coffee.
I guess that's the thing. To me, tea is the same way where in the end it still tastes like fucking tea. It still tastes like leafy water.
And sometimes it's not
And
even made with leaves.
well, but that it always at least all of the tea that I've had, it has always been a case of there is just that one specific tea aftertaste. And that's the thing I don't like about it. I think more than anything, other than alongside the fact that also any of the tea that I've had has never really had a taste other than that taste of like just the tea taste.
Okay,
like
but
the tea
also
taste.
can I quick chime in with the one time that I could get Sarah to try boba tea and she decided to get the worst fucking tea and with the worst things to add into it. She got like some kind of herbal tea, to which I'm like, if you don't like leafy tea taste, that's not gonna be it. And then she got like these gross ass floating jelly bits in it. And she
don't know why I did.
And she was like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go all out. And it's like, great. Do you want to actually like it though? So that's different.
I tried some of your. It was like chocolate milk tea or something like that.
Yeah.
That you had, and I didn't hate that. I don't think I really was the biggest fan, but I didn't hate it.
Well, for me personally, like similar to you, I don't like really herbally tastes for like a drink, but I've had really good like fruit teas that you only really taste. Like to me, a fruit tea, like a good fruit tea that I've had before is like a green apple fruit tea. And it has a similar like tartness with kind of like a dry feel to it, like you would get with drinking cranberry juice. And so that automatically I'm like, this basically just tastes like a fruit juice essentially. But then I've also had plenty of different kinds of milk teas before that I've been like, this is really good. And it's not just straight up tea taste. And it's not even like straight up like herbal tea taste. Because typically with milk teas, they use all kinds of different ones the main factor is literally just the milk and other stuff that they might add in to add other tastes and stuff. But that's the other thing. I'm a dual citizen here in this situation. I've drank both coffee and teas before, and I see the merits in both. I typically would say I prefer coffee, but I will still try any tea that's given to me. That doesn't mean I'll like it, but I'll try it.
If I had to pick, honestly, my preferred thing with caffeine is energy drinks.
Okay, but that's
I like
battery acid.
I like carbonation. So
they have carbonated tea and coffee drinks. Have you tried coffee soda before? It's disgusting.
Yeah, that sounds.
It is so bad. Coke one time did it. They did a coffee flavored Coke flavor.
Oh, I think I tried that. I do think I tried that. It wasn't good.
It was bad.
It was really bad.
It didn't taste like coffee either. But yeah.
So you mentioned cranberry juice, and that reminded me because you specifically said like that dryness that cranberry juice has. The worst. Okay, one thing I will never recommend to anyone ever, unless they want a specifically awful experience. Do not drink cranberry juice while eating graham crackers.
Okay.
This is a very specific thing.
I can tell.
Because when I was getting on my endoscopy, because you're not supposed to eat or drink anything before you get an endoscopy. I'm not saying that right, I don't think, but that's okay. The thing
Sarah
where they
MD.
stick
She's also
they stick like the camera down your throat to look into your stomach and see if there's anything wrong with it. Because this was back when I was having like stomach pain almost every single day. And so yeah, they stick it into like your stomach and then into your intestines a little bit and all that stuff. So you're put out for it. And I wake up. Yes. I wake up and they're like, you want anything to drink or anything to eat. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like it'd be good. I'm still a little out of it because I'm just waking up from the anesthesia, and I react very strongly to anesthesia. Like, my stepmom was talking about how when she had to get this done and they used this type of anesthesia on her, like, she was awake within the hour of waking up, and I got home and I took a nap for about like 5 hours.
But that's also just you in general.
Well, okay. And they were like, do you want water or do you want cranberry juice? And I'm like, cranberry juice sounds like it would fucking ball right now. And they gave me some graham crackers. That was like, I think that was the only option. Or maybe they offered something else with, and graham crackers?
Crackers.
They offered something else other than the graham crackers. And I said, like, I want graham crackers because that sounds also fucking baller. And so I'm here sipping cranberry juice through a straw and eating these dry ass graham crackers, and it's an awful fucking experience because my mouth cannot get moist. It just feels like I have permanent cotton mouth.
So it's not the
and I'm like,
taste
I don't know
of
what to do. No, the taste is fine because they cancel each other out. Like, if I want to taste the cranberry juice, I taste the cranberry juice. If I taste the graham crackers, I taste the graham crackers. It isn't a case of that. It's just literally the fact that I can't get like any sort of moisture.
I'm not wet right now. Why am I not wet?
My mouth is dry. And I don't know why I didn't ask for fucking water. I think part of my half asleep brain was like, that would be an inconvenience to them. They don't need to worry about that. I made this bed. I'll sleep in it. So that was bad.
Okay.
But yeah, don't recommend. Especially not when you're half asleep coming out of surgery. Not surgery. Procedure.
Okay, well, I could at least say for the fruit tea thing, it's not the same type of like full-on dryness that you get with cranberry juice, but regardless, I would still say that's a safe bet if you ever want to try a tea that actually tastes like a juice.
Cranberry juice is fantastic. Great for UTIs.
You would know.
I haven't gotten a UTI in years.
You have had kidney stones though.
Different things.
Very similar area though.
Similar
Similar causes actually. It all depends.
Well,
but no,
actually,
okay, so listen. This has nothing to do. This was supposed to be the brief topic of interlude that I was starting with when I started with cold brew coffee. Because I was going to talk about, okay, another thing that I've been watching recently, specifically on YouTube that I found, which again, it's something to do with the algorithm, I have no clue, but there are these two people, they're the main ones, but there's other people that pop up that I'm like, I'm already looking at these two, I don't need to see more. Where it's like a normal vlogger, basically. It's literally just like documenting stuff that they do in their daily lives. And the two people that specifically have stood out, because apparently, according to them and like according to their growing subscriber count, just recently they've had their videos like being pushed out like on the YouTube algorithm and everything, which is why I probably saw them. And one of them is a guy who's like in his 30s who works at 7-Eleven. And his whole listen, his whole shtick is that he's a guy in his 30s who works at 7-Eleven. I know how boring that sounds, but you'd have to watch the videos. And then this other one is this girl who lives in Japan, and she lives in this like really small apartment, and she works two jobs right now. One's like a cleaning job, and the other one's like a bunny girl at a bar. Not a stripper or anything, but like she just gets people to come into the bar and like buy drinks and stuff. And it's like, it reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you ever watched like old vloggers on YouTube, but like whereas purely like they had like, you know, those flip cameras with like the USB stick that pops out on the side?
I think so, yeah.
Like that's what they would record on and stuff. And
see,
it reminds me of that era of YouTube, basically.
Really watch any kind of vlogs, to be honest. I think that vlogs are kind of awkward.
I think you're just awkward. That's the main thing.
I think it's kind of weird to act like look forward to someone just making a video about their life in general. If it's for like I've watched some vlogs from like certain YouTubers where it's like, okay, we went to this con, here's what we did at this con, look, with other people. Like I see that, like other people that are a part of the same community, like that I understand a bit more. But it's just like day of my life, like just a normal day of like a normal person. Like I'm like, why? I don't understand.
Okay. I'm not someone that I would say like,
especially family bloggers.
Well, that too. That I can understand for sure. Like that, I don't involve the kids.
Keep the kids out of it.
Seriously, but I think for me personally, and it's probably very similar with like Casey Neistat stuff, even though I don't think I've ever seen a single video of his, but I get the gist of what they're supposed to be like. Exactly. For you, you wouldn't know what any of these people are. Like, oh my gosh, do you remember the Shaytards?
I'm the what?
So no. Okay, I'm gonna stop trying to make references that you're not gonna understand, but I, for the longest time, especially when I was younger, like probably very early, like maybe 12, 13, there were certain YouTubers that lived in Japan. Like there was this girl named Charlotte in Japan. There was this girl named Kanada Jin, and she turned out to be a very horrible person. But and then Michaela, there's all these people that basically they lived in Japan, and it was all girls because obviously I was still me back then, and they would literally just post either random vlogs or they would post like videos of like trying out this or showing what it's like in like Japanese konbini. And like for me, like for them it was average stuff because they lived there already. But for me, because it was such a different version of life that I knew nothing about and was nowhere close to experiencing, I thought it was so cool. And that's why I would like see that stuff.
Okay, I say that I will agree can be very, very cool. I think stuff like that where it's like you're documenting other culture for the sake of people who don't usually experience that culture. I think that like if you're
7-Eleven
filming...
not a culture?
No.
Not to you.
It's a case of the thing is I could see myself probably following someone like that on Instagram.
I want you to vlog a day in the life of your work. I'll edit it for you. I'll do some sick editing.
Legally, I can't because we handle a lot of sensitive information.
Don't film the computer, like.
Well, even us talking is a lot.
Wow.
Film it like in the office or something like that. Just now I gotta scan. It's really boring, my guy. It's really boring.
But that's what the people want to see.
Is it?
Okay, well, here's the other thing. Similar to the point that I made of like looking at just people's lives in countries that I've never been to. Or say like the 7-Eleven guy that I talked about. In my mind, like the reason I have even seen his videos is because it's always like an update into someone else's life that I know nothing about, nor have I experienced the same thing. And so I imagine similarly, there's a lot of people that like the different viewpoint of such. In like in a way of like, if they not only don't experience that kind of life at that current moment, nor have they experienced it, it's kind of like having a window into a different reality of sorts. Because obviously it's the same world, same time, we exist in the same universe, but it's completely a different experience, like one person to the next. And I feel like that's what a lot of people end up watching those for.
I can understand that. I guess to me, anyone who just is like just standing in front of a camera talking, it's
You
weird
just hate
to me.
him. You just
I mean, if it's
so
not,
much.
I say that, but I really do enjoy watching people like iNabber or stuff like that. But that's like, but they're talking about drama. So I don't know.
I mean, what is a stranger's life that you don't know unfolding before you, if not complete drama?
I mean, it can be, I guess. I don't know. I just, granted, I haven't tried to watch any vlogs in a lot of time. I'm not sitting in front of a camera talking.
Well,
My
you do
camera's
have a
not
webcam.
on. But it's not on.
But you are sitting in front of it.
I'm sitting in front of a computer that happens to be on.
With a camera.
My phone isn't in front of me, Hide.
All I'm saying
But whatever.
is that
You know what I
should
mean.
vlog.
The
For
thing
sure.
is, I have actually tried. I've tried to do a video diary, and I would like to think if I am trying to get a point across, I can be fairly eloquent when it comes to that kind of thing. Where I usually at least know what I'm saying to a certain extent.
But
There's something about I understand. I can understand the appeal of video blogging for the sense of keeping a record. I think I do really like that. I think that could be very cool. I think that could be very fun. I think it's good for documentation, especially nowadays and everything like that. And so that was part of it. It was, to me, try and document what was going on with my life. And I think it can convey more emotion. I think it can convey like how people are feeling a bit more. It just I don't know, something about it just, it's awkward. Because it's not like I'm talking to a person, I'm talking to a camera. Because I don't know who's going to be seeing this, because I try to relate however I'm talking to someone specific usually.
maybe it's different because I talk to myself a lot.
I talk to myself a lot, but the thing is, okay, this makes me sound like I'm crazy.
Makes
I
you
usually
sound?
I usually have a specific person in mind I'm talking to, and it's usually a character of mine.
Yeah, I don't go that far. Typically just me, or I'm just talking to the void.
Well, there are different parts of me that I'm talking to. It's actually very healthy, okay? It's very healthy for my mental health. My therapist said so.
And that's what you should vlog.
Me talking to, like, my random characters?
You should say, like, you should title the vlog to blank, and it would be who you're talking to that day.
See, that'd be weird.
Oh, that would be weird. That would be the weird part.
Don't talk to my fingers, SK. No, it's, I don't know how do I explain this? Like, Sarah is one of my characters. Who's a part of me. There's like there's 6 parts that are technically characters, but they embody different aspects of me. And this is actually, like I said, I've done part work with my therapist. This is something that's actually fairly healthy, and it's actually, it's very productive if you know how to use it, if you know how to work it and everything like that. So, like, the Sarah is the part of me that likes to get things done, is the productive part of me. It's the one who likes to be in charge and likes to make plans and wants to make sure things get done at an orderly pace. I have a character who, unfortunately, and no, it's not a personality disorder. I have thought maybe I did have it, but it's not. So, because I'm not like switching between alters or anything like that. I'm still me, because I'm technically still my own person. It's so, I don't know how to explain it.
What you're saying is we should give you a podcast
episode
specifically to do the research and explain the clinical stuff. I'll write it down.
I'll explain
underneath paradox
how my inner mind
with a question mark.
How my inner brain works. Yeah.
I almost wrote Sarah exploiting herself.
Because
honestly, kind of.
I mean, what is this if not exploiting my self-reviews?
What muse?
The 5 people watching.
Oh my gosh.
But it is just because the thing is, when I'm with my therapist, there's times like, who's upset about this? Like, which part of me is upset about this? It helps differentiate between my body and my mind and the certain parts of my mind. There's a lot going on up here, okay? I need to compartmentalize, otherwise I'm gonna go crazy.
My question is, at what point do your characters perform the lottery on you? Collectively, and they stone you to death. And at that point, who is the one in charge, you know?
Okay. In the end, it's me.
In the end, I killed them all. That
In
would
the
be
end,
fun.
I'm the one who tells them what.
Well, you hear about things like ego death all the time.
The thing is, they have their own stories that have span across my entire life, obviously, and so they've gone through a lot. And the thing is, they each are usually have a connection to a specific fandom of some kind.
It's always a fandom with you.
Well, yeah, because fandom is such a big part of my life. So they all have their own. Like, Sarah is One Piece. DR is My Hero Academia. He just latched onto that one. Ariel is Undertale. Mani is Teen Titans. Sierra is a mix of Gravity Falls and Steven Universe. And then Sky is more of the video game, mostly Minecraft.
I never thought about it, but I guess Gravity Falls and Steven Universe do have a very
They
similar
have an
vibe to
overlap,
them.
honest. Yes, they do. They have very similar vibes, especially early on.
Because I feel like a lot of people that you would see that were into Gravity Falls definitely got into Steven Universe. Because
Oh yeah,
that was really big when it started, like first came out. Steven Universe.
well, oh yeah, like Why did I go southern? There is a big overlap between a lot of those kinds of shows, like Steven Universe, and then Steven Universe has a lot of crossover with like Adventure Time, and then it also has crossovers with, I'm talking about like production wise. And then there's a crossover with like the Gravity Falls, and then also into the Owl House, Infinity Train. There's a lot of connecting pieces, like Amphibia, then 2, and all that stuff. And there is genuine canonical conversations about whether or not a lot of these stories are happening within the same universe. But it's, a lot of the creators work together and everything. Like Alex Hirsch has done a lot of stuff with Rebecca Sugar. So
Rebecca Sugar.
that's who made Steven Universe, and that who's worked on a lot of like music stuff for Adventure Time.
Hmm.
And Dana Terrace, I believe that's her name, is the one who did Owl House, and Alex Hirsch voices characters in the Owl House.
I've heard of Owl House, but I don't think I ever actually saw any episodes.
It's really good if you are willing to watch something that was, if you're willing to watch shows like Steven Universe and Gravity Falls with the understanding that they are technically still made for kids, then I think you would enjoy it, because it was also very, very outwardly queer. That's one of the reasons it got canceled, unfortunately. But it has a really good storyline. It explores a lot of deep topics.
Oh my gosh, you want to know about a show that pretty much got canceled? And I swear it was because it had to do with lesbians.
What?
There's this show on Netflix called Warrior Nun.
What?
Okay, it's
Warrior Nun?
yes. Let me explain. I watched it a little while ago, but I remember when I watched it, I thought it was really, really cool. It basically it follows nuns. There's basically
No, really?
well, listen. There's like this woman slash girl, because she's pretty young, and she, again, if I butcher what the plot line is, please forgive, but it's not like you're gonna watch it anytime soon anyways. She, I think, was paraplegic. Like, she had been in an accident, or she had died. No, she was paraplegic, she died, and then she came back. But she came back on not an operating table, a morgue table, because someone had put a halo inside of her. And the halo brought her back to life. Like an angel's halo.
Uh-huh.
And because I'm pretty sure she was being stored in the morgue slash mortuary of a church that had picked her up because she was like dead on the street or something. Don't ask me the specifics.
Like
I
this
don't
feels
know.
like an episode of Supernatural.
Well, it kind of, the vibes are very similar.
Yeah.
And she was then basically being chased by all of these demons that were trying to get the halo out of her. Like, they wanted the halo, but it was embedded in her. and she had these weird like power-ish things. They were kind of like extensions of her, I guess. And basically, fast forward, and there's this entire like congregation of nuns that they're like these warrior nuns, where their whole shtick is that they're supposed to be quote unquote serving, because this is, think Bayonetta, in terms of like there's like heaven, there's hell, and like you serve in your army to fight against one or the other. And so their whole shtick was trying to keep back the powers of hell from reaching and corrupting Earth. And one of the things is the main like warrior nun. I forget what it's called. It's not the sister. There's a name for it. It's like the head, not mistress, but it's the head sister essentially.
Well, I can't remember what it's called either.
But it's called something. I know there's a name for it. And basically, there's this one nun.
Mother Superior.
That's it. There's the one nun underneath Mother Superior that's supposed to take on the mantle of becoming like the warrior nun, who gets the halo embedded in them, essentially. But this random body essentially didn't get a choice because it was implanted in her. I don't remember by who. I think it might have been by a priest that was eventually corrupted by Satan. But regardless, she ends up having her whole debacle of like, I don't want to be this. I didn't choose this life, blah, 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 blah. And then she ends up joining because, you know, it's typical. And she falls in love with one of the nuns on her team. And they had this whole like romance, this questionable romance. And it was like a lot of people thought that it was a really good show in terms of it was like a really good lesbian show. Because there weren't that many just like lesbian related relationships that were shown in shows like this, or rather that was a focal point, I guess, rather than like a side piece. And so a lot of people liked it in that community space because they're like, this is realistic representation because of how confusing it was and everything, and obviously realistic to an extent, like it's a warrior nun, but
yeah,
they liked it a lot. And then a lot of people think, I don't know if there's official documentation, but it was supposed to get like a second or third season, and it ended up getting canceled. And a lot of people think it got canceled specifically because it was not performing as well as they would like it to, even though there was a very dedicated and core fan base because of what it represented.
Yeah, that seems to be the thing with a lot of shows though, like that, is they show openly queer things and they then get canceled because yay. Steven Universe somehow avoided that.
I always wondered, especially for like Netflix originals. I mean, obviously there's funding that goes into it, but I feel like there's less pushback comparative to like if you're debuting on a network or something.
Yeah.
Because TV versus like Netflix is different. I'm not saying it like one's better than the other, but it's very different, I would imagine, comparatively, because there's like a lot more freedom. Or at least I would hope there is.
Yeah, because I think part of the entire reasoning you could do with like on network things is that anyone could see it, like, oh, think of the kids. Ugh. And
then you're like, why are the kids watching?
Yeah. Regarding Steven Universe, he wasn't he wasn't queer, and so like I guess technically the main character wasn't, but everyone around him was. The other main characters, the Crystal Gems, were all very openly queer. Like you had two lesbians that were literally fused together. Like it's hard to get more lesbian than that, I feel like. And like there was, when they had their wedding episode, it got banned in quite a few countries. And the thing is, they made it was very, very smart on their part, is that they made it so that episode led up to to literally the end game of it. So if you did not air that episode, you were missing a lot of context for like the last little bit of it. So I thought that was very, very smart on Rebecca Sugar's part, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only other one I can think of that I watched, this wasn't recently, and technically speaking, it's not even like I wouldn't say it's like very queer heavy in any sense, but I remember I watched Voltron a long time ago, like the entire
Hmm.
of that series.
I love that
Not even
series.
because I was recommended or anything, but because I had heard some things and I was like, I might as well like try to like
Think
see
same
what it's
thing.
about.
Yeah.
And there was parts not having to do with that, but having to do with the story that I was questioning. There's a lot of
Hmm.
issues, but in terms of like, I guess representation. I mean, the only main one I can think of off the top of my head was obviously like Shiro, in the sense of like he was very clearly
He
a
had a husband.
he had a husband. He was
He
very
had a
clearly some
husband.
kind of queer character, but also it was never a detail, to my knowledge, that I remember that was brought up that often or anything.
I need to rewatch Voltron.
Because I mean, a lot of stuff happened in that show.
Yes.
A lot of stuff happened. A lot of weird stuff happened, and I know for a fact, even though I don't think this is canon at all in any sense, but I know that a lot of people ship Lance and Keith.
Yes. A lot of people do. There was Shiro, it was confirmed to have a husband and everything. I can't remember how it was confirmed. I honestly don't know. I think it got like mentioned once in the
That's
show
what I'm
kind of
saying.
thing.
It was like
But
barely mentioned.
Shiro having a husband has the same vibes of Soldier 76 having a husband. Like, you never really think about it. You know it's a thing. You don't really think about it.
But that's the thing. That's the funny part, though, especially in terms of the Soldier 76 thing, because I feel like inherently Overwatch's community is very bad in
Yeah.
terms of like any kind of like the minute you slap any kind of representation, they're like, why? Because the thing is, because I'm pretty sure Tracer was the first one that was like officially confirmed gay, right?
Probably.
I'm pretty sure she was, because that's when they revealed like she had Emily and stuff. And I remember the amount of people, the amount, yes, that's a word. For some reason, it didn't sound like a word when I said it. The amount of people that absolutely hated it. But the thing is, in terms of like what was mentioned in the game and or the game itself, because let's be real, it's a shooter. You're just shooting other people. You're trying to kill other people and push objectives that aren't real. But the amount of people that got so upset about it, even though it changed literally nothing other than they would have to have it as a thought that may or may not come up in their minds of like, oh yeah, this person's only into women. Like, and then with Soldier, I understand how people were like, where did that come from? In the sense of like, it made no sense to an outside perspective, but in my humble personal gay boy opinion, I feel like that made it better. At least with Soldier, when they did the entire stuff with Farah and Baptiste and all that stuff later, that I feel like was a bit more baity. But with Soldier specifically, even though it's not like, ooh, daddy, it's more like, if you don't expect it and it's something that you would not expect and or wouldn't think about, because it's not like Soldier is a very quote unquote gay seeming character, that's what makes it more realistic in a way.
Yeah. So I really much agree with that, with the fact of, oh, you had so much time to get to know this character as he was, as much as you can with Overwatch, where it's like, yes, this is Soldier 76, but then they just say, oh yeah, by the way, he's gay. It's like, makes sense, kind of a deal. It's like, oh, that kind of clicks something, where there was something with like, I like to talk about how, it's again gonna make me sound crazy.
Well, you've already said a lot of things tonight.
Where when I was creating like my original story and everything like that, and I'm messing with my characters, and I'm looking at my main character, who he's, I feel like I know exactly who he is personality wise. I know everything about that. I know his story for the most part. I'm pretty sure. I like his love interest. Like, okay, yeah, I know you're gay. I know that. Like, I know that. I know you are disabled because I know you're missing a limb because I made you lose that limb.
I cut it off.
I did. So it's like, I know that. I know all this. I know your issues with your family. And then I'm looking at him and I'm like, there's something missing. what am I missing about you? There's like a very glaring piece. And there was I say he told me because it felt like that, where he's like, oh yeah, I'm trans. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. And it was like, that makes sense. That's what this character is. It just is like, it wasn't a case of you're trans for the sake of the story, because it doesn't really change the story at all, but it's a case of just, this character is trans. That makes sense. This fits this character. I feel that way with Leo too, where
but that's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times, to that degree, especially in other representations, people often like, and by people I mean straight people,
Yeah.
often I think assume that being any part of the queer community is a personality trait that you can tell, in terms of like, you should have known because they would have made it known, whereas like that's not at all the case with a lot of people actually. And it's not a personality trait as much as it's just a part of them, to similar to your degree, where it's like, it doesn't change anything necessarily because that's not what would change them, that's just part of them, like a core identity sort of situation. And I always find that hilarious because I'm like, they are always gobsmacked by these characters that they're like, how can this character be gay? Like, they act the straightest out of all of them. And it's like, there are a lot of people that are gay or trans that you would not believe it just because you didn't know it before. And if you learn it, like, there have been also many a times when I've learned about like music artists that I listen to or I follow, that I'm like, oh my god, because I'll just randomly see either something along the lines of like, oh yeah, either one of their songs will say something about their gender, and I'm like, oh my god, wait, how did I not know this? Or it'll be a situation where like I hear in passing about like in-depth interviews with this artist, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm a trans woman or something, and I'm like, I would have never known. But also now I get some of the songs you're making. Like, I feel like it gives context, but it doesn't have precedence over who they are fundamentally, like how they should act. And I feel like that's what straight people always have an issue with.
Yeah, I had an experience like that with a YouTuber called Zoe Pro as Heck. She was a part of the Yogscast community. And she did a Minecraft Let's Play with Rithian, and it was one that is one of my favorite Let's Plays. Like alongside like Shadow of Israfel and everything. And
really old Let's Plays.
I mean, it was Tekkit. It was a Tekkit server.
That's how you know.
And I remember it being a case where a lot of people were shipping Zoe and Rithian together at the time, and I think even like granted I was young, I didn't even know gay was a thing, barely.
I didn't know gay. What's gay?
And I remember, I think the things that I did know about it, people were treating it as this god-awful thing that you do not want to be.
Oh yeah, definitely on the internet for sure.
Yeah, and so I remember like people were shipping them together and all that stuff, and I don't know if I was one of those people necessarily, because like I said, I was young, so I wasn't really thinking about that. I just knew I really liked their dynamic and all that stuff. And there was a video that she made when I was gotten a little, like maybe 1 or 2 years after, where I gotten a little bit older and everything like that. And so I finally knew like a little bit more. And she mentioned how she was lesbian. And I remember I left a comment underneath that video. Where I said, it doesn't matter what you are, we still love you, all that kind of stuff. Where I definitely made it sound like her being a lesbian was a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then a few, like even more recently, like I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago now, where she came out and she said, oh yeah, I'm a trans woman. And I'm like, huh. Never would have realized.
That's the thing. It's a lot of never would have realized, but then also if it's someone that you've liked their stuff for a while, it almost is like a moment.
Yeah.
Of like a lot of things. Oh, that makes sense actually.
Yeah, especially with the lesbian thing was like a dead, like she was always talking about how much she liked boobs. Like honestly, fucking insane. But like, yeah, it's like you should have known real. I should have known sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an entire thing.
Well, okay, funny thing having to do with that. You know when I tried to get you to listen to Ethel Cain,
Vaguely.
the very scary ambient music that was like drone
Vaguely
music,
remember. Yeah, I think so.
and how I told you like a bunch of her music was basically about like this character Ethel Cain, but it had to do with like trauma in the church and like being a preacher's daughter and everything.
Oh yeah.
She's a trans woman. And I did not know this for a very long time. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, that makes sense with that type of
Yeah.
music. Yeah.
And there's just like all kinds of stuff like that where I'm like, oh my gosh, it makes sense. But to me personally, but that's the thing, because we're already in the community, it's never a, oh, it's a, oh.
Yeah, it's like, that checks out. I mean, there was members like in the Hermitcraft community who also, who would come out and everything like that. To be fair, some of them, it wasn't really anything big. It was like Zombie Cleo saying that they used she/they pronouns, and we were like, awesome, yes. Yeah, Jem joined. She's openly bisexual. I don't know. I can never remember if Joe is gender non-conforming. I know his wife or partner is trans, I'm pretty sure. Like 90% sure they're trans. I can't remember though. But yeah, it's an entire thing. Like, in even some of them, yeah, most of them have wives and children. But a lot of them sometimes have alter egos, and they like say, yeah, this person can use they them pronouns. We don't really care what you use for them. And so there's those entire things, which I think is very, very fun. And I think it's very good for representation.
Have you ever been shocked by that too? Where like you'll follow someone for a really long time and then you'll randomly learn, oh yeah, they've had like 3 kids with someone, and it'll surprise you.
That was me with in the Littlewood, where because I had followed him back in Yogscast, early Yogscast and everything like that. And then he kind of pops out of the blue again when I get back into start getting into like Hermitcraft and everything. And then he pops out and suddenly he has kids and he has a wife, and I'm like, what
And it's like
happened?
you've had like an entire family going on, because you know what they don't tell you? Kids don't take a small amount of time to cook. They take a while, and that means that's been going on without anyone's knowledge, which honestly good for them, but also it's always surprising, I feel like.
Just yeah, seriously. Yeah, I follow people on like Instagram and Facebook and stuff who from like high school, and it's like, yeah, they were like, some of these people were older than me, but some of them were in my class, and they're having kids, they're getting married. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You're the same age as me. What do you mean you're having kids?
Well, I also feel that, well, here's the thing. For you, that makes sense in terms of like where you went to school. For me, because of where I went to school, I expected the minute I graduated, like 7 of my classmates to be in a relationship
Already
with
pregnant.
kids. They were pregnant when they're at graduation. They were getting ready to get married. Like all that kind of stuff. That's what I was expecting, because a lot of them, both boys and girls, from what I've witnessed, are just like, we're ready to mate. And that's how it felt. It was like all of them were looking for like their lifetime partner, and if they didn't find it then, they were like, I want to go to a Christian college and find someone there. And God forbid you're a girl going to a Christian college and you make eye contact with a boy and suddenly you're married to him. Because you shared a look, and that's just how it works.
Yeah, I saw a video recently regarding that, about like how Christian purity culture specifically, and why a lot of those marriages don't work, is because you instilled in these teenagers who are extremely fucking horny to like not even think about touching each other or themselves and stuff like that. And so you just basically, it's a fucking dam that keeps building up, and they have a chance, and so they get to their wedding night and everything like that, and it's usually very underwhelming, or they don't click very well. It's like how that's why there's a lot of divorces, or it's a lot of cheating, or a lot of toxic marriages and all that
Also,
stuff.
they've never had experience.
Yeah.
And then they're both two virgins fumbling with each other because they don't know what to do. And then they have 4 kids.
Yep.
And then they don't get a divorce because...
And you know that woman has never had an orgasm in her fucking life.
And they don't get a divorce because they're like, marriage. God-given, promised, forever.
Because more often than not, if they get a divorce, it's the woman who's going to be demonized. And depending on the circumstances,
But she'll also be expected to take care of the children.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But even if they are in a marriage, a lot of the times the woman is still the only one taking care of the children anyways.
And then on top of that, she like wouldn't be able to go back to whatever church community they had because then she'll be like ostracized. So it's awful. Everything about it. Yeah. That's a separate thing. You know what? I'll write that down.
It's Christianity.
Not just religion in general. I feel like we could go into all kinds, because I do find religion in and of itself fascinating, but that's a whole separate topic that I would love to talk about later.
Oh, I think religion is also very, very interesting.
Listen, this is KK disco. I don't know what you want.
This is the Christian music. I don't know what you're saying.
This is the Christian bop you never knew you wanted, okay? But anyways, we've already went over time. And I have to eat dinner soon. So I'm gonna end it here.
I have to do laundry.
Sarah has to do laundry while she vlogs.
I'm not vlogging.
And she'll get back to us with the edited vlog that she's actually learning how to edit. So
I am.
Look forward to her edited vlog soon.
I'm not vlogging.
Look for you vlog in Minecraft.
I mean, I have been thinking about doing some Minecraft videos. Like SK, both him and I are thinking about doing things because we're building together. And so we're creating Datloff in Minecraft.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
That's what you can vlog, but you can't call it a let's play. You can call it a vlog. And act as if it's your daily life, your actual life. Like I just got off my shift at the 7-Eleven and build a 7-Eleven in the background.
I'm back from managing HOAs in the grand land of Minecraftia.
Yes.
And now I'm back home.
But
building. Yeah. I'm technically homeless.
Oh, and speaking of HOAs, I need to tell you something after. But anyways, we're gonna go. So see y'all next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thanks for coming.